Welcome back to Monday's show with me, Kay Adams, alongside Amanda Lamb, Jeremy Edwards and Sophia Miles. We'll have the rest of the headlines for you next, including a sixth day of chaos for NatWest customers and the BBC Wildlife host who's been a bit of a rebel. You'll get it when it comes. But first, no housing benefits for the under-25s. 0207 173 5555 is the number you need this morning. Later today, David Cameron is expected to announce plans to stop young people claiming housing benefits. He reckons it's not fair that hard-working, hard-saving 20-somethings get nothing from the government, while the work-shy can start a family and demand a house. So would this proposal work? Is it potentially damaging to young people who need help? But we'll have their lifeline cut off because of a few scroungers. Before the break, Amanda said that the government's attacking the poor, not the rich. Vulnerable people could end up on the street. Jeremy reckons that 25 isn't the right cut-off point and that we should look at each case individually. Cutting benefits will discourage the next generation. Sophia said housing is a right, not a luxury. Times are tough, but it's wrong to cut from those in real need. Kirsty, what are people saying at home?
We have Adam on line 3.
Good morning, Adam. How are you?
Good morning, I'm fine, thank you.
Good morning. Our panel hasn't found any favour with this proposal. Adam, what are you thinking?
Oh, it's a joke. It's a complete and utter disgrace, and it just really shows what David Cameron thinks of us commoners, to be quite frank about it. I was forced to move out at a very young age, 17. I had no choice. I couldn't stay with my parents. There's no option for me to stay at home, and I didn't have a job. But I'd like to think now I've turned into a sort of useful member of society. You know, I have a job, I work, I pay tax. You know, I've got 2 children, which you probably would frown upon. But, you know, it's completely disgrace. You should be focusing on the people like Gary Barlow, the multi-billion-pound corporations who put their bank accounts in different countries and avoid tax, not discriminated against young...
Yeah, I mean, Adam, I'm going to point out, we get your drift here. I'm going to point out that, of course, we don't know that Gary Barlow has done anything legally wrong, but clearly everyone will be aware of where you're coming from on that. I mean, it's interesting because one of the things that David Cameron is saying is that there's a resentment from hard-working, tax-paying folk like yourself against people who are benefit scroungers.
No,
is that where the resentment is?
Comes from? I think the resentment comes from the top politicians having to pay the money out, and the most people would resent the elite people who get billions of pounds, especially the bankers who we're giving our hard-earned money to bailing them out, and they're still getting their bonuses. That's what the common people resent, not picking on the poor people.
Adam, can I ask you, what did you do then when you had to move out? Where did you go and what happened?
I went to the local council when I got placed in temporary accommodation. I spent about 2 years in that. It was a very run-down place, drug addicts all around me and stuff. It was a pretty grotty place. And then I got my first house on the housing association, a one-bedroom house. And then from then on, I pretty much got a job and then started to have children and then moved up the housing ladder, as in getting a more social housing 2-bedroom house. But I work, I pay my taxes. My partner works, she's got a pretty good job. You know, so it's all this fallacy that young people can't contribute, and if they're claiming something, then they're pretty miserable human beings. It's completely absurd and stupid. Adam,
can I ask you, do you still get housing benefit, a level of housing benefit?
Oh, yeah, it's about £1 a week.
Yeah. No, I'm just only pointing it out because I think it's important to say that not everybody who receives a level of housing benefit is unemployed. I mean, you're working, your partner's working, and there's lots of working people.
We've just recently had, well, my partner had a wage increase, a salary increase. So our housing benefit has come down into proportion of that. But, yeah, like you said, as my understanding is that most people who claim housing benefit have actually got jobs, and they're low-paying jobs.
Yeah. Adam, listen, nice to speak to you this morning. Thank you very much. I mean, I think it's always so important to get people who can put real flesh and bones on stories like this, you know, rather than just, 380,000 people, are receiving the housing benefit, and then you hear somebody's story, it kind of puts a different perspective on things. Kirsty, who else do we have?
We have Laura on line 4.
Morning, Laura. How are you?
Hiya, I'm fine, thank you.
Good, good. What do you think, Laura?
I think it's absolutely ridiculous, to be honest. My partner and myself live together. We've got a 10-month-old son that we need to support. Basically, I think it's awful because if we do lose the housing benefit, because it pays a lot of our rent, we'd have to go live back with our parents that don't support, or they can't support us. Therefore, the family would be broken up. And I think it's awful that David Cameron is actually wanting to do this because he would break up a lot of families, a lot of stable families.
How old are you, Laura, can I ask?
I'm 21 years old.
You're 21 and you're living with your partner, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, OK. Are you working, Laura?
I'm currently on maternity leave, but I might have to leave my job because of travel problems.
Right. And what about your partner? Is he working? I'm sorry to be so nosy.
He's been unemployed since he left school.
Pardon?
He's been unemployed since he left school.
Right. Finding it hard to get a job, obviously?
Yeah, because there's just nothing out there. He knows what he wants to do. He's got the drive to do it. It's just there's nothing there because there's more jobs going than there is available.
So if the benefit was taken away from you, the housing benefit, Laura, you would have to... What would you do?
To be honest, I'm not actually sure because if it was, we'd both have to move back in with our parents and break up the stable family that we have.
Yeah.
And I don't really know because I don't really know what else we'd do because our families don't have the room in their houses for us.
Yeah. I mean, Jeremy, just two examples, you know, Laura and Adam there, and obviously...
It's an exact example of what I was saying before, is that David Cameron seems to assume that people are choosing not to work. Laura's just saying that her partner wants to get a job, he can't find a job. And that's the thing, there aren't jobs out there. It's not that simple. It's not like everybody's just being lazy and trying to take advantage of the system. Some people genuinely can't find work. So why punish them for that? Sort it out, create more work, and then people can go and work.
That's it. I mean, you go back to that Victorian, Dickensian time, wouldn't you, where you'd have, like, 15 children all sleeping in one bed. And I think that hearing stories like that about how it would break up the family. She'd have to go and live with her mum. He'd have to go and live with his mum and dad. And that's no environment for their baby to grow up in.
Yeah. Listen, Laura, lovely to speak to you this morning, and thanks again for calling in, as I say, putting real kind of colour on it. I think we've got time for one more call, Kirsty, have we?
Yes, we'll take Susie on line 2.
Hi, Susie.
Hiya.
Hi. Are you in favour of this proposal?
I think it's ridiculous because nobody at all this morning even has mentioned the price of the rent. I think Dave and his merry band of men ought to look at these landlords who are charging extortionate rents for basic...
Amanda had it on her notes, Susie.
It's on my notes, Susie, there. It says landlords.
Exactly. Right, well, I'll say it for you, Amanda.
Thanks,
because really, Dave and his guys, he ought to get teams all over the country and go and look at properties and work out a system that would say this property, a one-bedroom property, say, with facilities X, Y and Z is worth X amounts a week. If a landlord is charging more than that band, then forget it. Either reduce your rents or we get no housing benefit. Because we all know there are a lot of landlords in this country who think, oh, I'll get social security claimants in, I'll get a regular housing benefit check in every month and I'm onto a winner here. I can charge what the limit is. Lower the limit, because some people, especially in London, are paying over the odds for basic properties, and it's not right. Because is a one-bedroom flat in London better than a one-bedroom property in Nottinghamshire, where I'm from? No, it's not. But look at the price of what a rent is charged for the London property to a Nottingham property.
It's the law of supply and demand, isn't it? And it works everywhere. Thank you very much, Susie. I'm just thinking, in 3 calls there, it makes you think, you know, this wouldn't work in practical terms. It would be very difficult to work. So is this about ideology, about David Cameron saying to his Conservative Party, I am a real Tory? Do you think, Amanda?
I do think that it needs a radical overhaul, but I just think, and I always have, and you know, I grew up in a family that was staunch Labour supporters, so it's been very hard for me to sort of put my boot on the other foot, so to speak, and I just think that they are just out of touch with the majority of this country. When you look at the amount of rich we have compared to the amount of poor, I just don't think they get what real people have to go through.
Yeah, it seems like there's just a genuine misunderstanding as to how this country operates and what people need.
Yeah. OK. All right, after the break, it's Sophia with the rest of today's headlines for you, including an enterprising new police initiative to cut truancy. And apparently England lost a football match last night. All the excruciating details. I'm not smirking. I'm not. See you soon.